It's another day, and I'm so excited about it, and I could not mean this any more than I mean it today. Before we get any further, as one of my old pastors would say, before we go another further, I want to make sure that I am welcoming you into your 15 minutes of daily inspiration. You are tuned in to New Birth. I know it looks different than everybody else because we do things different than everybody else does it. So hit the share button, and this is your time. You have been duty bound to start a watch party. Why? Because you influence the people in your circle. So create a party. You can't go nowhere. Start a party and make sure people know that the 15 minutes has started right now. Pastor Jamal-Bryant is our senior pastor, and he's amazing. If you don't know who he is, Google him. Make sure that you're following us because we do it in a major way. I'm your pastor of internet and innovation, Vance Ross, and the reason I'm glad, not just because they told me to go into the house of the Lord, but I have my sister. Last week, she invited me on her platform and then had me come back for part 2. So I couldn't be outdone. So I brought her on mine because I want my numbers to shoot through the roof. I wanted to win like you've never seen it before. Our pastor of emerging generations. Yes. Everybody welcome Pastor Carriana Turner.
I feel like I need some theme music.
You gotta have it. Carriana Turner, here she comes. Welcome.
Thank you.
I'm excited.
Thank you for having me, brother. I'm so glad to be with you.
Thank you for
this. This is always so much fun. Yes.
We give 5 extra minutes. Why? Because we cheated y'all.
We did.
We did go back and look. We lost 5 minutes, so we're going 20 minutes today because we owe you 5.
And y'all let us know that we owed y'all 5 minutes too.
I'm tired of it. I don't want to hear it. We're going to give you your 5 back. This is all the change that you do.
Absolutely.
So you know everything I talk about is about purpose, business, life planning.
Yes.
And I was talking to my sister and she gave me a concept, and I want to realize that people complaining because they can't go to the barbershop.
Yep.
They can't go to the beauty salon.
My God, today.
You can't go to the Mac counter.
These nails ain't done.
You can't get your nails done, your hair did, everything did. So we're talking about the makeup for your bless up.
Wow.
I want to give you the makeup for your bless up.
Yeah.
And it's the makeup necessary for your plan that deals with every component of your life.
Yeah.
And I think the mistake that we make is we have minimized the reality that we were able to go get all of our maintenance done before we were quarantined.
Yeah.
We took it for granted.
Like clockwork.
That it was just normal.
Absolutely.
And now we're starting to recognize that what we took for granted was a benefit.
Yes.
And it benefited us not just for us on the inside, but who people saw us to be on the outside.
Yeah.
And now we got to reshape how we do this thing.
Yeah.
We got to reconfigure how we get our makeup done for our bless up.
Yeah.
So how does this work for you? Because you are all about your look. You're all about your image. Oh, yeah.
I mean, don't be saying it like that, though. Like
I'm saying
she all about her look.
You are.
That's all she about.
No. You serious about your image now.
I am.
You're not going to let nobody play with it.
I take pride in, I do, because I believe that how we present ourselves to the world speaks directly to how we feel about ourselves. And so I believe that it's important, but let me tell you this. So the quarantine has definitely had us suffering because for some of us, it's a suffering journey. Do you hear me? But, you know, it hasn't been, I will honestly say, as bad for me yet, right, as maybe it is for others. And I'm going to tell you why. I grew up poor.
Got you.
I grew up all the way poor.
I got you.
Okay, right?
Yes.
So poor that at one point in time, my mom has worked at a hotel my whole life.
Got you.
She has worked 2 jobs my whole life. And just recently, within the last 2 years, did she leave her second job because we really kind of forced her to do it. She had me when she was 18 years old. My father was not pregnant.
Yeah.
So she was the primary person, and she has always worked.
Wow.
And so with that, we didn't have a lot, right? And I say that because I was getting ready to tell you that one point it had gotten so bad that she had to steal food from the hotel cafeteria. My mom has worked in the laundry my whole life at one of the local hotels in Las Vegas. And she would take food out, and I say steal because they weren't supposed to take food out of what they called the helps hall at that time. And so she would bring that home to make sure that my brother and I had food to eat. And so I say that to loop all of this back around and saying, because I had nothing, I had to figure out how to make do with what I had. What does that mean? I didn't have a lot of clothes, and so I knew how to take care of the few pieces of clothes we got. We got maybe one or two brand name pair of shoes, tennis shoes. Everything else, we got an outfit at Christmas, we got an outfit at Easter, y'all know what I'm talking about, and we got an outfit at the 4th of July.
Yeah.
Prayerfully, you were able to get clothes for the school year, but you held on to that stuff. So I've always known how to take care of my clothes to make them last a long time. I didn't know what a beauty shop was until I got to college. I'd never gone to the beauty shop. I went to get my hair braided down the street, but when we couldn't afford to get my hair braided, I had to learn. So I know how to do box braids. I know how to do,
come on now.
I know how to do all of that. My hair now, I have touched up because, do you know what I'm saying? And so while it is difficult, I have been reminded that because of my life circumstances, I know how to make do with little and come out of it not looking like you only have a little. Now, there are some things I can't do, right? But a lot of things I can do because I had to do them. And so is it uncomfortable? Yes. But can I do it? Yes. And I say this because I always tell people this, even in business when you're starting. You ought to learn how to do everything on your own in the beginning, because when you learn how to do it on your own, you don't have to perfect it, but you should become aware of it. You should learn how to do your books. You should learn how to do your flyers. You should learn whatever your business needs. As the CEO, there should be nothing that you have not touched, because, hear this, when you are aware of it, you can't be pimped or robbed. It's not until you've not touched it and you don't know what you need that somebody can come in and charge you anything because you've not done it before. Do you know what I'm saying? So there are times where God will give us grace when we cannot access everything we need, but it teaches us to become aware so that we can function at it in a level on our own, so that you can still be okay. It may not be everything that you want, but I'm not going to die if my nails don't get done. I'm not going to die if my hair is not curled. I'm going to figure out what I need to do so that I can still feel good about me, even though I can't access everything I want to access. I know that was a lot.
No, it wasn't. This is why I brought you. This is why God ordains moments like this.
Yeah.
Because we're talking about the makeup for your bless up, but it's a pun on words.
Absolutely.
That sometimes we got to make up to make sure we get blessed up.
Oh, gosh.
And this opportunity for many of us doesn't digest and register until you don't have what you thought you needed.
Gosh.
This is the moment where it is impactful, because some people will look at you and size you, not realizing that they don't know how many times you had to make up to be blessed up. You don't realize that many of us don't look like what we look like.
Come on here.
We went through what we went through so that we can be presented faultless.
Yeah.
And he made us up so that he can bless us up. And that's why your purpose, your plan, your life is so important in this quarantine, because many of us have been marginalized so that we can be maximized.
Yes.
And this is that moment. You until you hear her story, you don't realize why her image is important. Because there are moments now that I can't go back because of what you've allowed me to learn on this journey. As a business owner. I tell you, and I'll be transparent with you, one of the greatest moments in my business was when we had nothing. Wow. I purchased 2 phones.
Wow.
When Verizon was just starting, the little slide phones.
Yes.
and they were giving them for $9.99 a line. I was on my mama's line.
Yes.
And I asked her, could we get 2 extra phones?
Wow.
And I did the prefix the same, but I changed the suffix.
Yeah.
And I would answer the phone as a white guy.
Come on now.
And I was the white guy on the phone because it was just me. Then when you asked for the branding department, I was another voice.
You got to do what you
I had to do what I had to do. I had
Yes.
3 email addresses.
Yes.
Why? Because I had to make up for my bless up.
Come on.
I knew how to do everything in the business so that now while I employ people,
Yeah.
I'm not being pimped out of my
That's
resources.
right. That's right.
Why is this important in the plan? Because many of us need these opportunities where we got new growth.
Yes.
To be able to understand, you can shave your own face, you can manicure your own nails.
Yes.
Is there scripture to it? It is. Jeremiah 18:3, one of my favorite passages of scripture in the whole world. It says, so I went down to the potter's house,
Yeah.
and I saw him working at the wheel, but the pot he was shaping from the clay was marred in his hands. So the potter formed it into another pot, shaping it as seemed best to him. One of the biggest pieces of this, Pastor Turner,
Yeah.
is that some of us are either marred in the potter's hands, we are mutilated, or we're made over.
Oh, God.
And you've got to figure out where this journey takes you, because sometimes what we don't realize is on the potter's wheel, he is allowing the speed of the wheel and the delicacy of the clay with the contouring of his hands to shape what he identified in his mind all the time. But sometimes forces outside of the clay force it to be marred.
Yeah.
And sometimes he's in this position where he knew what he wanted you to be, but there were things that you were connected to
Come on.
outside of you that changed the plan that you had. We talked about this. And now allows him to make you in a position where he changes the marred dynamics and ultimately gets you to who he wants you to be. He gets you to make up. How does this work in the plan for business, in the plan for life, in the plan for purpose, when stuff outside of you? You couldn't control your financial circumstance. You couldn't control the circumstances that you grew up on in. But the outside forces, while still on the wheel, shaped you. Although you were marred from the beginning. You now are still what the potter designed for you to be. How does that navigate to people in their circumstance?
First of all, do we even got the time? I don't even think we have the time, but oh my goodness, it's such a powerful thing. I'm going to tell you something that my therapist did.
Sure.
I was telling her.
Can you say that again?
My therapist.
Yeah, you need theology and therapy.
Yes.
This is necessary. Don't be so spiritual that you're not practical.
Oh, absolutely.
Go right ahead.
If you are leading, I just want to add, if you're leading anybody, you need a therapist. Even if you're not leading anybody, you need one, but you sure enough need one if you're leading people. And so, I said my therapist, I actually had a session, I want to say last week, a virtual session last week. So for those of you who have not had an opportunity to see one, right now is a great time because they are doing sessions virtually. So I had one. But anyway, I say that to say I met with one of my therapists, this was years ago, and I was having a session walking through a very traumatic moment in my life, right? And one of the questions she asked me was, where do you see Jesus in that moment? And for a very long time, I could not see him in the moment. I could not identify where he was. It was so traumatic and heartbreaking to me that I could not identify him. Later, as I went back to unpack the experience, I could identify him. And I believe that that speaks to all of these elements, all of these things that go on around, because I had to get from a space of feeling like, because I was abandoned by other people, that God had abandoned me as well. But the truth is, he was present the entire time. He was there through every circumstance, through every experience. He never left. He was always present. And I think it speaks to him as the potter, because it is very easy for us to think that because things that happen in our life that contradict where we believe we're going, that they're not useful for God. But the one thing about the potter is that he is able to take whatever he needs to take, put it on the wheel, and shape it the way, do you know what I'm saying? The way that he wants it to. We quote the scripture, all things work together. But I don't know if we really understand that all things, the molestation, the abuse, the alcoholism, the divorce, the whatever it might be, truly all things really do work together as he is using them to knit. Come on.
This is why this is important, because we've been talking about the business plan.
Yeah.
But many of us don't realize that the life plan bleeds into the business plan.
Oh, absolutely.
And until you embrace the outside components that marred you, you minimize the makeup of your bless up.
Oh, yeah.
This is that moment where before you negate the people, the circumstances, the environment, the situation, the mindset, the behaviors, these are the marred moments that allowed him to now navigate his hand in your life and get you to that place where the makeup starts to work.
But you have to reconcile that. You've got to reconcile that. Some of us are still so angry about who we were born to. We are still so angry about what family we were born into. We're still so angry about what background we came from. We're still so angry about the circumstances that we live permanently in a marred place, rather than understanding that even God uses the marred things to help shape who we become. I now know what it means that when my grandmother used to say I would take nothing for my journey. I now know what that means as a woman. It means something completely different, because here's the thing. God can't use people who've not been through nothing. God can't use people who have no story, who have no testimony. Some of us are angry, but you shouldn't be, because really what happened added weight and credence to your journey. The challenge is we got a whole bunch of folk talking but with no weight. We got a whole bunch of folk talking but with no credence. When there is credence and weight, you can stand on everything that you have experienced, everything that you've been through, because the testimony becomes, had it not been had it not been for the Lord on my side, where would I be?
That's a question.
Listen.
He said, had it not been.
Listen.
But I got to turn around and ask myself, I'm glad.
Oh.
Because I don't know where I'd be.
I don't know where I would be.
But it's going all the way to the left side of the building. I want you to realize that wherever you are, and the reason I brought her on and I'm excited is because we focused on the business, but life is kicking us right now. Yes, I can stay groomed, not because I'm bald by nature. It was a decision of maintenance, not realizing that one day I would have to shave my own head to maintain my look. There are moments where you have to make some adjustments before the adjustment is necessary. And this first piece being marred in the potter's hand. The second piece is being mutilated.
Oh gosh, wait a minute.
There are moments where so much air gets into this. I don't know if you've ever got a chance to go to a potter's house. This wheel, he's working it with his feet and his hands, and there are some elements that force it to not be able to do what it needs to do, so he just smashes it with his hands.
Oh my goodness.
But what I love about a potter is it never disregards any clay. It can pick up unused clay that wasn't working for something else and add it to this mutilated piece of clay.
The vision stays the same.
The vision stays the same. And sometimes you've got to be mutilated so stuff can be added to you.
Absolutely.
Some of the greatest moments and the greatest people you'll ever meet had been mutilated before they became beautiful.
Oh, absolutely.
The makeup is a lead-in to the story of my mutilation.
Oh, come on.
Sometimes I've gone through some things in life that made me persist to my business.
Absolutely.
It made me persist to my plan. If he hadn't smashed me sometime, you talk about how you grew up. If I take away being in the hood, if I take away not having a father, if I take away growing up around 4 women all at one time for 9 years, if I take away all of those components of the street and the church, I don't sit where I'm sitting today.
No.
And many of us minimize the fact that we want our situation and circumstances to change, but we want the blessing to stay the same. You got to pay the price for the anointing.
Listen, now you're going in a whole nother direction.
There is a fee for the anointing.
Don't do this today.
It costs. And if you want your life plan to work, you've got to pay the penalty.
Oh my!
You've got to pay the premium.
Oh my!
For every insurance plan I got to pay a premium.
Yeah.
And the only time the premium makes sense is if I get in an accident.
Come on here.
Because if I don't have an accident, I've just been paying into somebody else's mutual fund.
Yeah.
So these moments of being mutilated is a mutual fund.
Oh, it is.
That allowed me to pay into you in the case that an accident occurred. Talk to us on this, because I see.
You know, it's so good, because I think we live in such a generation where we're a microwave generation. You know, you put something in the microwave and you get it back and you're done and you're on your way.
Yeah.
It's this whole idea of aborting process, or trying to figure out how to get around process. And there's no way to do it. Even when you put things in the microwave, you can get it fast, but it loses a majority of its nutritional value. And so what you're getting back is not really, you're robbing yourself of what you need, because you tried to do it a quick, fast, and in a hurry, and it doesn't work like that, you know. And so it helps us to understand that this thing that God is doing in you, this is for somebody. I don't even know who this is, because we're always trying to figure out why we don't have the platform faster, why we don't have the business faster, why we're not CEO yet, or whatever your thing might be. We always want to have it faster. But I remember the Lord speaking to me during a very low time in my life. When I say low, I mean low, head in the middle of the couch, not knowing what I was going to do. And what he was saying to me is, what God is trying to do is build something in you that is long lasting. Build something in you that is sustainable. Do you hear me? And when it comes fast, 9 times out of 10, it's not sustainable. And so when we start to understand that, when you start to understand that what God is doing in you is producing something in you for the long haul, so that you can handle the heat of the lights when the light comes. Do you hear what I'm saying to you? He's trying to build that in you, and when you get the revelation of that, it quickens something in your spirit. You can appreciate process, I believe, in a way that you probably could not appreciate it before. You can't get past it. And so listen, when you understand that, whether I have makeup or no makeup, whether I have clothes or no clothes, I have been at my lowest. Do you hear what I'm saying?
That's Paul.
So listen,
I learned how to be a base. I learned how to be a bound.
How to be a base and a bound. So it don't matter, because at some point in time, this is going to be over.
Wherever you catch me.
Listen, wherever you catch me. And the good part about it, it's in the process that you learn that. You learn whether I have a job or I don't have a job. The vision remains the same. Whether I have makeup or no, or a bunch of it or none of it, the vision remains the same. Whether I have a house or no house, a car or no car, the vision remains the same. And so I am who I am at my core, because I was able to go through the process when he was shattering me, when he was mutilating me, when I was being annihilated, when I was being crushed to produce oil. I then found out who I was. It wasn't when I have all this whatever little stuff. It was when I had nothing and felt like I was nothing that he began to speak life into me. That he began to tell me exactly who I was.
I can't do it.
When he helped me to understand that every circumstance of my background all fed into this picture, and that he knew from the beginning of time what it would look like and where I would be. The truth is, it boils down to trust. We don't trust him. And so that's why when we get in these type of situations, it's hard for us to understand that even when everything is falling apart seemingly on the potter's wheel, his foot don't move.
He ain't concerned. He ain't disturbed. I know our team is
saying, y'all.
No, because this gonna get us to the last one. You've been marred, you've been mutilated, but this is where I've been trying to get you the whole time. you've been made over.
Oh, gosh.
Remember I told you it's the makeup for the bless up. This is a makeover. You are not quarantined because he doesn't like you. You are quarantined because he's trying to present you in a different way.
Blameless.
That will change how people saw you.
Yeah.
This is that moment.
Yeah.
You are in your makeover. Your life is being made over.
Yes.
Your business is being made over. Your purpose is being made over. And the beautiful thing about it is, if you are not prepared for the fire, if you're not prepared for the heat, if you're not prepared for the process, if you're not comfortable going around on that wheel and getting dizzy, getting drunk, if you're not comfortable being hit hard, you don't realize that he hit you so that you could be strong enough to be able to sustain. He allowed you to be spun around over and over again so that you would know what it feels like when circumstances are twirling around and your psyche is destroyed. You've been on that wheel before. He put you in the oven so that you can be hard enough, that you can be strong enough. Don't forget that the process is what develops the plan. The plan creates, no matter who you are, if you've been marred in his hand, mutilated, or you at your makeover point, the plan in your life can still work for your blessing and for your good. This blessed me. You got overtime. I know it's 15 minutes of daily inspiration, but we owed you 5 from her.
We owed you 5.
And then God gave a couple of extra minutes for you. Somebody needs this moment. Somebody has been impacted by this moment. You didn't come thinking that this is what you were going to get. But because God moved even in this moment, you realize that you can't keep doing the stuff the same way. Your plan has shifted. It was your plan at first, but now you've run smack dab into his plan.
Oh, my goodness.
And you cannot do this if you don't connect with a body of believers who are focused on allowing you to see your bless up. We don't want to just be your friends. We want to be your family. And if you would go to joinnewbirth.org, this gives you the opportunity in one step to get connected to a ministry that's more than just church. They're about change and they're about Christ. On top of that, we want to give you an opportunity to sow. Because this has been a moment of change for your life, and the greatest thing you can do in worship is to put down a seed so that you can see the harvest come back. And this is good ground. We're impacting people not just regionally, not just statewide, not just nationally. We're taking God global. So if you text NBGIVE to 77977 right now, you can sow in the good ground, because we need you as we continue to need Christ. This has been a moment that I'll never forget. You have been made up for your bless up. Pastor Carey, we got to keep doing this. Y'all better share this. If you ain't sharing, something wrong with you. You just a hater. You selfish. You need to share this thing.
Don't be like that. Don't be like that.
It don't look good on you. That's ugly makeup on you. Make sure you share this. As always, I'm your pastor of Internet and Innovation, Kervance Ross. This is New Birth. Our senior pastor is Dr. Jamal-Harrison Bryant. You can follow me on Instagram at I am Kervance Ross.
And you can follow me on Instagram at Ms. Carey Baby.
We love you, and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. I'm bringing her back. I don't care what y'all say. She coming back. Enjoy your day. Get ready for your bless up, and I'll see you when I see you. Peace.